Hello everyone, happy week 3. I'm kind of jumping on early in the week after getting through my reading, knowing I have a pretty busy week at the hospital this week. So you're actually catching me in my work garb on my work break, and I'm trying to plow through my discussion. So week 3 says, what was surprising, challenging, or reaffirming about the TED Talk by Chet and Bat? Well, I love this TED Talk. I loved that, he sort of ripped apart our sort of concept of identity and origin, and where that can lead to sort of segregation or assumptions about our unique identities, where we come from, where we live, what we've experienced, things like that. So I think this was a really reaffirming film for me, just in that I sort of, wish for my efforts and my concept of worldview to be not biased or based on any one sort of identity. Instead, I guess what our text would call a sort of new age perception. I also loved chapter 7, just in the context of sort of that new age and the evolution of sort of our generation needing sort of this universal salvation and not just an individual salvation, because I think for a greater concept of worldview, we have to take in others' views. So, what do I think about it all? In what ways do I agree or disagree? So I do think, I agree in part and then I disagree in others, or maybe not disagree, but I see sort of areas where a lot of my concept of identity, not that I need that, but just sort of in how I've been raised and, some of my, German characteristics, if you will, are things that ancestors before me have ingrained. So I think a lot of it is cultural, a lot of it is historically relevant, just in how we come to be the way we are and act the way we are. And I think that's valid. I think where I want to break from that cycle and where I'm glad sort of we've evolved is that there's sort of more options out there. I guess picking and choosing options can be very complicated. A lot has to do with your peers, a lot has to do with your family, a lot has to do with sort of your social upbringing. And so I think, I agree in a sense that we don't need an exact identity. And I think it becomes even cooler as we see new generations kind of coming into these multi-generation relationships, or in these multicultural relationships, because I think it just offers more depth and variety. And then also identity kind of pulls away a little bit, right? For instance, I married someone who's Vietnamese. My children will be both, mutts essentially, but, half Vietnamese, half, German. And I think it's kind of beautiful because I think that, we'll show them, variations of my culture, variations of his culture. As you all know, it's Chinese New Year, so Happy New Year this week on Wednesday. And so we've been celebrating Tet in our household. And what's cool about that is my kids are exposed to sort of like Buddhism and different, sort of religious things that I wasn't privy to growing up. But I kind of see it as like a beautiful mesh of things that are out there in the world. So I think this is important. The last question is, in what ways does language, affirm those worldview concepts? And so I think with our text, I relate a lot to that new age concept that's just evolved over time, where historically too, I see a lot of things tied to our identity being in our culture, or where we've grown from, or we've come from, which leads to, war, political, conflict and discrimination, and even sort of complexities within those who believe and those who choose not to believe. And so I would like to believe in this sort of concept of universal salvation, and am happy that it's evolved. I think that there's not one right answer. I think kind of a blend of everything is important, and understanding, but maybe perhaps could be used to sort of change our concept of worldview to lead to a better world going forward. And so that's what I think this week. It's been fun reading, and I hope you guys are all doing good. Pray that my call is not too crazy this week, because sometimes I live at the hospital for 5 days in a row and then become pretty haggard the next week. So happy Monday. I hope you all have a good week, and we'll touch base soon. Thanks.